Okay, everybody, I'm back here with my fourth part on my personal opinion of Mighty Morphin. Because like I said, Linkara is currently doing this whole history of it, and I only know as much as up to in space because I really didn't, watch afterwards because well, for a couple of reasons. One, I was in school and in school and after school activities like football and stuff. So, okay. But now, as I was saying at the end of part three, basically what happened is that the Rangers in the kid forms are able to retrieve all five pieces of the Zeo crystal. Now, of course, Aisha, Karen Ashley's character, decides that she's going to stay behind in Africa. Now, we're not sure if the Africa she stays behind in is the same timeline or a different timeline. And she ends up staying behind because the animals there are sick, and this would be a great opportunity for her to apply her love, if you will, for veterinarian work. So, in other words, to help the animals. So, to recap what I said at the end, at the end of part three, she gives her Zeo crystal to a character named Tanya. Now, Tanya is an African-American girl. I can't think of her name right now, the actress who played her. But she gives it to her, and thus Tanya takes Aisha's place as the Yellow Ranger. Now, some people, like Linkara Lewis, kind of don't like the fact that this happened. They don't like the fact that Tanya replaces Aisha, and Aisha, as a teenage character, doesn't get a good send-off. But anyway, to recap what I was saying, basically what happens is after the timeline and everything is fixed, the Rangers go and thank, with the exception of Tanya, go and thank the Accretion Rangers for being there, for helping to defend the Earth while they were on the mission to find the Zeo crystals. But as they're doing this, Goldar and Rito end up planting a bomb underneath the command center, and then go into the command center and steal the Zeo crystal. So as the Rangers come back and find out that the crystal has been stolen, that's when the bomb goes off, and the command center is destroyed. Right after, basically, Zordon and Alpha teleport the Rangers out of the building. And of course that leads us right into Zeo. Now Zeo was heavily advertised as being the next evolution, the next big step of the Rangers. And I have to say it was. I mean, because, the theme song made it sound epic and everything, and it was just totally different. Basically, overall what happened is that after the command center blows up, the Rangers walk around there, seeing if they could salvage anything, seeing if maybe they could find any sign of Alpha or Zordon. And as they're looking around, Adam spots something glowing in the rubble. So they end up digging in this area where the glow is coming from, and it's the Zeo crystal. Apparently, Goldar and Rito dropped it when the explosion happened. Oh, and when the explosion happened, Rito and Goldar end up losing their memories for about the first half of the series. For the first half of Zeo, they end up losing their memories, and by doing so, they end up becoming the pets/servants and associates of Bulk and Skull, which is kind of weird. Weird to me, seeing as though Bulk and Skull should be afraid of these guys, but then again, maybe not. Because now seeing that they have, seeing the opportunity that they have, they're like, these guys don't know who they are. We can, take advantage of this. And of course, this is also when Bulk and Skull, I think, are in their second year, or second season, if you will, as police officers, junior police officers. Now, what happens afterwards is, after they recover the Zeo crystal activates, basically puts a force field around the feet, kind of locks the feet in where they're standing, and the ground that they're standing on starts to sink down into the ground, into the bottom, into basically the basement area or holding area, or whatever you want to call it, of the command center. And by doing so, the Rangers start to look around, wondering if maybe they can find any kind of sign of what's going on or any kind of explanation. They're basically walking around the catacombs, if you will, basement of the command center, when suddenly they hear Alpha calling out to them and telling them to follow his voice and then to step through a door, or in this case a vortex, and as they do so they end up inside the power chamber, which I find out, or we all find out, was built just in case the command center was ever destroyed. Now, as this is happening, Rita and Zed are celebrating the fact that they defeated the Rangers. But the celebration is cut short when Finster has to inform them that someone is about to attack the castle. So Rita goes to find out who it is, basically looking through her telescope, and ends up finding out and turns around and tells Zed that they're in trouble because the people that are attacking them are the Machine Empire, King Mondo and Queen Machina. Now, of course, this basically also goes back to what I was saying about the previous two seasons, how change is in the air. Because remember, in Season 2, at the beginning of Season 2, Lord Zed came in and became the primary villain for the better half of that until Rita returned. That was the first change for the villainy. This here is the second change. The villainy. And then, of course, you had Ritor come in and prove he was too powerful for the Rangers, and they had to get upgrade. But as far as primary villains go, when it comes to change, this was the second major change in primary villains. And basically, what happened is the Machine Empire starts attacking Zed and Rita's castle, and they basically got to take everything they have, along with Fitster, Squat and Babu, the Tangas and the Putties, and they basically got to evacuate the premises. So in other words, Mondo and Machina and the Machine Empire basically drive off Zed and Rita and take over their roles as the primary villains. That was the second major change as far as the villains go. Now, Zeo was a pretty good show. I mean, I'm not going to deny that. I mean, it's also the first show to give the Rangers different kind of weaponry. Now, not just some new Zords and everything, but it also gave them some battle armor. It was the first one to give the Rangers battle armor. In this case, being Rocky and Adam, they're the ones that got the battle armor. Now, after that, it's also known. After that, we also get introduced to the sixth Ranger as well during the season, the Gold Ranger. Now, here's the thing that's interesting. The Gold Ranger, at first, a lot of people are presuming is Billy. Because you see, Billy gave up his chance of being one of the Zeo Rangers. But, as he gave it up and gave up his opportunity and gave it up and gave his opportunity to Tanya, he basically said that in case of emergency, he could assume the power. So in other words, if say like one of the Zeo Rangers got hurt beyond the point that they couldn't, fight, he could assume the role for the time being. Well, enter the Gold Ranger. Now everybody thinks the Gold Ranger is Billy, seeing as though his Zord, if you will, his Primaris Zord, can fit all the Zeo Zords inside of him, making it the Ultra Zord. So everybody presumes it's Billy. But Billy has to basically say it's not him, and then we find out that he's telling the truth, because instead of seeing somebody we might know, instead it's an entirely new character called Trey of Triforia. And Trey is basically weakened to the point that he splits into 3 different personalities. And says that the only way they could save the Gold Ranger powers is to transfer it to somebody that's worthy of being the Gold Ranger. Now, who do they choose? Well, at first they think, oh great, this is a perfect opportunity to get Billy back in the game. But find out Billy can't do it because of all the negative proton energy or whatever he absorbed in the command center's explosion. And I'll get to that when I come back.